Hello there and welcome to Captain's Table 2021. I'm delighted to be joined today by Daniel Ung, finalist from Captain's Table 2020, and Paul Dean, Global Head of Shipping for HFW. I'd like to just spend a few minutes exploring some of the benefits of the Captain's Table from the experiences from Daniel and Paul. But before we do that, I'd just like to give these guys an opportunity by way of a quick introduction. Maybe Daniel, start with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan, I'm the CEO of Cyberowl, and Cyberowl is a maritime cybersecurity business. We focus on helping fleet operators understand what they have on board, help them secure it, and then prove that they secured it.
Hello everybody, I'm Paul Dean, I'm Global Head of Shipping at HFW, and we provide legal solutions for the whole life cycle of a ship, from its design all the way through to recycling.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and again, thank you for taking some time today. Daniel, if I may start with you. As a contestant, as an applicant for the Captain's Table in 2020, I'd be really interested if you could share some of your observations around how you felt the competition worked and your involvement in it, and just reflections since then, really.
Yeah, sure. If I take you back to before the competition, Chris, Cyberowl started as a business based out of the UK. And all of us co-founders were very experienced in cybersecurity, but had very little experience of the maritime sector. And so we were very conscious of two things. One is we needed to get as much exposure to the maritime sector as possible, but also the way the sector works means we had to be a global business, from very early on. And so the Captain's Table really offered us both those opportunities, to get a foot in the door of a sort of congregated group of maritime specialists, but also a window into Asia where we could then start to become very global very quickly, which is why it was a great program for us.
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously since we met you last year in 2020, things have moved very positively forward for the business. What do you think are the key highlights since then?
Oh, we've grown quite a lot since the business. So we've 5 times our customer base. We're now working with fleet operators around the world that represent about 650 vessels in full deployment. We've nearly grown our headcount by 50%, and we're continuing to do that. So no, lots of growth for us.
Fantastic. And clearly not everything can be attributed back to the Captain's Table, but I'd like to think I was going to say some of it. Fantastic. Paul, if I may turn to you. As a business, HFW have been involved with the Captain's Table since the inaugural competition in 2019. Initially that was local through the Hong Kong offices. In 2020 we became more globally interested, and now in 2021 we're moving into that gold sponsorship seat. What attracted you to the Captain's Table?
I think the important thing for us is that shipping is really a very mature business, but it is evolving extremely quickly at the moment, and I think particularly in relation to the key issues at the moment being sustainability, digitalisation, autonomy, those sorts of things. And innovation is so important in business, and for us it's important that we are looking to invest in the future of the maritime business, and I think the Captain's Table is a great forum for that development, and for us as a firm to really look to invest in those businesses who are successful in that, but also participate in that.
And that's great to hear. And clearly there's been a lot of activity between HFW and Cyberowl in the last few months. Would you like just to elaborate a little bit more on that relationship, but also what attracted you to the Cyberowl proposition?
I think actually it's going to be Daniel. I'm going to ask you to go first, if you don't mind, because I think it was Daniel who looked at us and then thought, actually, there is something of interest. So
it was increasingly clear to us with the customers that we were working with and people we were talking to in the sector that whilst we cover the technical part of cybersecurity, really cyber risk is a much bigger problem than that. Commercial, contractual, operational, and it's really in the end, it's really a financial question. And we are one part in that, but it was clear that we needed to work with other people in the ecosystem that could provide other pieces of that puzzle, and that's where HFW came in. And I think the ethos worked very well because we are a very specialised business focused very hard on the maritime sector, and HFW is a very sector-led organisation as well. And bringing two organisations that are really focused on the maritime sector's problems, I think is a marriage made in heaven, really.
Yeah, I see that completely, and the way I describe it is that I think it's a three-legged stool. The legal services that we provide is one leg of the stool. The consulting side of the services that we provide is the second leg of the stool, and then the technical side of the services is the Cyberowl leg of the stool. And through that, the clients get the complete solution. And I think increasingly what clients are looking for is a one-stop shop where they can have all of their solutions provided for them in one place.
Very good, exciting times. Paul, if I may stay with you, as we look towards the finals, which we hope will be in person in Hong Kong in December of this year, what are you hoping to see from some of the entries this year in terms of the problems they're solving and maybe the innovation that they're bringing to the sector?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, the shipping industry is very mature. It has been around for centuries, but there are new problems coming with new developments. And I think what we want, particularly in relation to those new developments, are solutions in relation to them. What is at the forefront of everybody's mind at the moment is sustainability. I'm looking for something in relation to sustainability, but I'm also looking for something which is perhaps related to the digitalization, the autonomy, all of the efficiencies which go with the connection to sustainability. All of that in itself also connects to risk. And so, for example, increased connectivity leads to increased risk of cyber incidents. So something that really provides a solution in relation to that is what I'm looking for.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Daniel, my final question for our time today is around if you reflect backwards and then think about some advice moving forwards. As applicants are thinking about putting their entry in for this year's competition, what words of advice would you give startups looking to break into the maritime sector?
I think the first thing to say is that the maritime sector from the outside is very hard to break into. So if you are serious about entering the sector, hacking that process through working with something like Captain's Table is a great sort of window into that sector, because it's a close-knit small sector that is very large in terms of assets under management. But once you've got one foot in the door, it's actually an extremely friendly, very helpful, very supportive sector. So I think that's the first thing I'd say. And then secondly, prove to the Captain's Table panel as you're applying, how you're adding value to real solutions that fit your digitalization problems, your sustainability problems. The ideas need to be tangible and to solve real problems in the sector, and then you're on your way.
Brilliant. Paul, Daniel, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend a few minutes talking through experiences and opportunities. Thank you for taking the moment to listen to our interview, and we look forward to welcoming you to this year's competition.